And so it begins, this release yesterday by Donald J. Trump. This morning I ordered precision military airstrikes on the senior ISIS attack planner and other terrorists he recruited and led in Somalia. These killers, who we have found hiding in caves, threaten the United States and our allies. The strikes destroyed the caves they live in and killed many terrorists without in any way harming civilians. Our military has targeted this ISIS attack planner for years, but Biden and his cronies wouldn't act quick enough to get the job done. I did. The message to ISIS and all others who would attack Americans is that we will find you and we will kill you. And that is just the beginning of the attack Donald J. Trump launched yesterday.
My favorite word, tariff.
It really boils down to that one word, doesn't it? Tariff. Donald J. Trump releasing the executive order. Some published, some have not been published yet. But this starts the trade war now, doesn't it? Today I've implemented a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada, 10% on Canadian energy, and a 10% additional tariff on China. This was done through the International Emergency Economics Power Act because of the major threat of illegal aliens and deadly drugs killing our citizens, including fentanyl. We need to protect Americans, and it is my duty as president to ensure the safety of all. I made a promise in my campaign to stop the flood of illegal aliens and drugs from pouring across our borders, and Americans overwhelmingly voted in favor of it, and we did. Now, is there going to be implications of this? Yes, there will be. Very little way to avoid that. Of course, the liberal media is going crazy, and many Americans, not understanding the full facets of how this operates, are also going crazy. Outside of Mexico declaring we have a plan A, plan B, and plan C for whatever the government of the United States decides, they're in trouble. He promised to close our borders. He promised to stop illegal drugs. And what will that come at the expense of? Potentially higher cost on many goods that you and I enjoy. But again, this is a war. A war, as you saw, against terrorism. A war against countries that are importing illegal drugs into our country. A war of attrition. One that Donald J. Trump shows no signs of stopping. As a matter of fact, even though Mexico plans retaliation, they're going to be hit with broad-scale unemployment and bankruptcies. These countries and the goods that they import into the United States, if they are made available in the United States, will work to go ahead and counter the mechanisms of further manufacturing in those countries. So no matter how much saber rattling they attempt to do, they know that financially it's going to hurt them. And unfortunately, financially, it's also going to affect us. Canada releasing a blitzkrieg of information. The New York Times publishing Canada and Mexico move to retaliate on Trump tariff orders, but they have to be careful of that word. Retaliation is within the executive order. What are they going to do? Mexico and Canada immediately vowed to impose tariffs of their own. The Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Useless Trudeau, announced retaliatory tariffs, starting with 25% tariffs on approximately $20 billion worth of U.S. goods on Tuesday, with $85 billion more to follow in 3 weeks. China's response, they will file a case against the United States at the World Trade Organization, and also vowed unspecified corresponding countermeasures to firmly safeguard its rights and interests. But you've been stealing our intellectual secrets for years. You have been helping to import illegal drugs into this country. And so it's about time somebody did something about you, someone who is not beholden to you. And that person right now is Donald J. Trump. Of course, the liberal left will yell about every single price that increases. And of course, Canada, I mean, that's one of the people they allowed to be their spokesperson. What are they going to do? What is going to be such an aggressive action against us?
We support a strong Team Canada approach to stand up to Donald Trump. For our first of many steps, effective today, I have directed BC liquor sales to immediately stop buying American liquor from red states.
They're going to stop buying American liquor from red states because those liquor companies don't have distribution points in blue states. Canada. It's always hilarious to watch what they attempt to push back with. Impose duties to address the flow of illicit drugs across our northern border. Now, he hasn't published all of them yet, but this one was published, and I would recommend that maybe Canada read it a little bit deeper, because Trump is very specific. If you go down in the executive order, should Canada retaliate against the United States in response to this action through import duties on the United States exports to Canada or similar measures, which you just heard announced, the President may increase or expand in scope the duties imposed under this order to ensure the efficacy of this action. You retaliate, I'll make it worse. And that is the way you play hardball with countries that have learned over the last 4 years that they don't have to respect or listen to the great Republic of the United States of America. And when you demand respect after 4 years of ignorance, it's going to take a baseball bat to get the message through. And Trump, well, he started a trade war. He started a war on terrorism. I wonder what comes next. And wait till you hear the left's response to a portion of this. To say it's laughable at the very end will just go to demonstrate exactly how they haven't listened, they haven't learned, and the attack is just beginning, because Trump also launched an internal war. It's only going into week 2 now. Just imagine what's to come. And we've covered so many of the details of it. I hope you know. If you haven't subscribed to Lisa's channel, you'll take just a few seconds to make sure you're still subscribed. If you haven't subscribed to our other channel, not an easy word for me to say, I hope you will. She'll put a link just above. And if you want to support us both, I hope you know we work day and night to create Restricted Republic. So many of you have moved over, and thank you for that. It means the world to us. It's what truly keeps these videos coming. And our family, as it grows there, our video catalog has grown exponentially. And we'd love you to have you there today. No commercials, no interruptions, beholden to no one but our audience. So without audience funding, aka memberships, the platform doesn't exist. It's the way we wanted it. News beholden to no one. Just like Donald J. Trump is beholden to no one right now, except we the people who voted him in the exact way it should be. Get to restrictedrepublic.com right now, please. It'd mean the world to Lisa and me. Now let's get back to this broadcast. So with all bad comes good now, doesn't it? Richard Grinnell, what's he doing there with Dura, I wonder? Well, doing something that the Biden administration couldn't get done. Just been informed that we are bringing back 6 hostages home from Venezuela, who's also going to take all our deportees now. Isn't it amazing how that works? When people realize you're not messing around. Well, Rick Grinnell went out there and got it done. It's so good to have the Venezuelan hostages back home, and very important to note that Venezuela has agreed to receive back into their country all Venezuelan illegal aliens who were encamped in the U.S. And that is how you get it done. And this is the reaction of those who were finally brought back home.
I had Donald Trump all over my prison cell, bro. I love you, Donald Trump. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Werber here. I thank you. I can't believe we're here. This is incredible. I'm walking on a cloud.
We love you, Trump. We love you, Trump.
Thank you.
As busy as he is, he still has time to get on that phone. The man works endlessly. And those are the gentlemen finally brought back home to be reunited with their families. But there's many things going on now, isn't there, in the background? This horrific crash that happened. Did you know, on the FAA, why do you think so many are under fire right now, from Hegseth to Donald J. Trump launching a warning shot against Hegseth, mind you, because it doesn't matter how much he likes you. If you don't do the job, you misinterpret something, or he doesn't feel there's enough action, man, I wouldn't want him looking over my shoulder. And I'm going to show you in a minute Donald J. Trump looking over Pete Hegseth's shoulder. And it's not a place you want to be. And then putting out a statement. When he deems something unacceptable, he'll let you know. Now, Pete Hegseth hasn't had much time to react. How broken is the FAA exactly? Let me give you a reminder of who Biden attempted to appoint as the head of the FAA. And we wonder why things, unfortunately, go horrifically wrong. In case you forgot this, well, listen in for a minute.
So, Mr. Washington, can you quickly tell me what airspace requires an ADS-B transponder?
Not sure I can answer that question right now.
That's okay. We'll just keep going. So that's a pretty important part. So what are the 6 types of special use airspace that protect this national security that appear on FAA charts?
Sorry, Senator, I cannot answer that question.
Okay, so what are the operational limitations of a pilot flying under basic med?
Senator, I'm not a pilot, so
But obviously you'd oversee the Federal Aviation Administration. So any idea what those restrictions are under basic med, quickly?
well, some of the restrictions I think would be high blood pressure. Some of them would be
It's more like how many passengers per airplane, how many pounds in different categories, and what altitude you can fly under. So, and then amount of knots. It's under 250 knots. So, it's not having anything to do with blood pressure.
And that is only half of the clip. Actually, under half. That's when things go wrong. Now, understanding, of course, he eventually pulled out of the process. Biden's FAA nominee bows out after senator's waiver. No, it's not senator's waiver. They realized he was incapable of doing the job. Remember I said, bombs fly, explosions there, heads roll, and it appears somebody else is now on the chopping block for this statement.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
See, when you allow things like that inciting of violence, then people think it is suddenly okay. Suddenly you have attempted assassinations against Donald J. Trump. Well, no more does it appear it's going to be allowed. D.C. U.S. attorneys fired January 6 prosecutors as a portion, but they didn't stop there. You see, within this onslaught of those who investigated the events of J6, the acting interim D.C. U.S. Attorney General Edward Martin Jr. on Friday dismissed 30 federal prosecutors who worked on January 6 Capitol riot cases over the past 4 years. That was just beginning. As he appeared to set his sights on scrutinizing the nation's top elected Democrats, sending what he called a letter of inquiry to Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer about his quickly walked-back statement at a March 2020 rally that two of Trump's recently nominated Supreme Court Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh would pay the price for a vote against abortion rights. And it appears now what goes around is finally coming around, and that is how you reestablish normalcy. The man's already doing it. He's already the interim. Wait till the final gets there. We take threats against public officials very seriously. I look forward to your cooperation, Mr. Schumer. It's a war on all fronts, isn't it? It had to be fought. And as I've warned you, it will not always be pretty. It will not make everything sunshine, rainbows, and puppies. No, when you do these maneuvers, there will be impacts, and we will each feel them. But for the betterment of our nation, for the betterment of the great Republic of the United States of America, I'm willing to engage in that battle. And I know you are too, but I want to see it in the comments. What have you liked that he's done so far? What haven't you, as we finish up in this end of this story? Because there is wasteful spending, there is wasteful hires, there is wasteful employment, there is just waste in Washington. Senior U.S. official exit after rift with Musk allies over payment system. People would read that on the Washington Post and said that Elon Musk is out of control. The top Treasury career staffer just announces his retirement. What is Trump doing? He's destroying everything. Yes, he is, because we voted him in to destroy everything. It's pretty simple, pretty black and white. No messing around here. The Doge team discovered, among other things, that payment approval officers at the Treasury were instructed to always approve payments, even to known fraudulent or terrorist groups. They literally never denied a payment in their entire career. Now does their resignation start to make a little bit more sense? Not even once did they stop it. And when they went deeper on all these initiatives, including DEI, which is going to be one of the ending clips we're going to play, Democrats never learn. $1 billion recovered, stopped. Updated data on DEI-related contract cancellations with full detail now available because the Trump administration is giving transparency. $1 billion. We just got done with week one. It's freaking insane, isn't it? CBS News to comply with FCC demand for 60 minutes transcript and video. CBS News will provide the Federal Communication Commission transcript of camera feeds from 60 minutes. Ooh, I told you the FCC chairman was coming back around. Looks like people have something to answer for, and they deserve it. But how's Donald J. Trump going to reinforce all this? What will people maybe start to doubt him? Well, they won't, because he's getting results. As you see here, it was like flipping a switch. Daily encounters of undocumented migrants without reparations and returns to Mexico. Look at how fast that just went down. Democrats, remember? Mayorkas, the border is secure. Really? I beg to differ. And statistics beg to differ. And that is called results. And when you have results, things change. But the attacks will be ongoing. They'll continue to try to decimate everyone. Remember when I said you don't want this man looking over your shoulder? It's chilling if you do something wrong, huh? Now, Pete Hegseth hasn't had a chance to react to most yet, but nonetheless, he will, and Trump will, scrutinize his appointments. We saw that in the first term. We'll see it in the second term. But to make matters worse, of course, ex-Biden loyalists are continuing false attacks. Kelly Magsamen, former chief of staff to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, the one who covered up his hospitalization, mind you, condemns Defense Secretary Hegseth's handling of the Black Hawk crash aftermath and his suggestion that DEI was to blame. Wait now. What? Did you miss his statement?
The unit involved, the Army unit involved, was Bravo Company 12th Aviation Battalion at Fort Belvoir. It was an annual proficiency training flight. And when we look at the crew, and not all kin have been notified, so we're going to withhold ranks and names at this point. We do know on our side who was involved. It was a fairly experienced crew.
Okay, that was step one. But of course, she's not referring to that, right? I know mainstream media. I know what she'll come out and say. No, she was referring to this portion. Screen will go black for just 1 minute. But here's what she was referring to. I want you to listen to this portion very closely and tell me if he is blaming DEI or not.
We will have the best and brightest in every position possible. As you said in your inaugural, it is colorblind and merit-based. The best leaders possible, whether it's flying Black Hawks and flying airplanes, leading platoons, or in government. The era of DEI is gone at the Defense Department, and we need the best and brightest, whether it's in our air traffic control, or whether it's in our generals, or whether it's throughout government. So thank you for your leadership and courage on that, sir, and we'll stand by you on it. Thank you.
And that is what she took as him stating that DEI was responsible for the Black Hawk crash. That's my estimation, of course. I don't hear it, but I'd like to hear your opinion. But remember what I said. Donald J. Trump is watching his appointment. So yesterday, what does he put out? The Black Hawk helicopter was flying too high by a lot. It was far above the 200-foot limit. That's not really too complicated to understand, is it? I know. Pete has some refinement, and Trump will push him along towards that refinement. And like every good corporate CEO, he'll give you a chance. But once the refinement's not seen, I know, chilling, isn't it? This is all, again, I'm not simply here to be Trump's cheerleader, nor any of his appointments cheerleader. It's not what you do. We report facts. It's amazing how many comments you'll get sometimes against that. I'm not here to say everything they do is right, because if you think that, then you really don't understand politics. Yes, they are making vast improvements quickly. There will be mistakes made, and I'm not saying fire anybody immediately for one mistake. Of course not. Work with them and get them up. Get them ready. Get them good to go. And remove initials, which is teased, of course, because if you look at the travel.state.gov website, you notice something missing on that right there. I'll go a little bit larger for you. LGB, travelers. Where did the T go? Oh, that's right. They removed it because Trump is in full onslaught right now. It's a shock and awe that no one can keep up with. He already told you what he was going to do. It's in his presidential actions, his EOs. And on top of that now, federal employees told to remove pronouns from email signatures by the end of the day. He has not stopped. He's got the accelerator down so fast that no one can keep up with it. He's gutting all departments. And then this announcement comes out, and at the very bottom is the most crucial part. I want you to preserve all records, including documents, emails, text messages, and other electronic communication related to the conversations and other personnel decisions regarding attorneys hired to support casework related to the events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6th. You see, it's only just begun. Heads of the FBI Washington field office is forced out, but that story changed quickly, didn't it? The purge is bigger than first understood. Yeah, that's right. He's on the FBI now. He's getting ready for cash, isn't he? We are told it includes more than 20 heads of FBI field offices. And then the story changed again. Important clarification. 88 is the number of FBI agents and top managers who actually were walked out of their offices today. The war has initiated against terrorists. The war, the trade wars have begun. And then the war against the deep state. It is in full swing, and the response from the left is laughable. But before we get there, let's not forget Brennan, right? Because Trump did something else. So many moving parts. New CIA director. Evidence didn't support Brennan's explosive Trump-Russia assessment, as we all knew, right? The spies who lied. Everybody who tries to continue to control the great United States of America. The one he put an EO out already pulling their security clearances, but he took it a step further. Now he bans all those officials who pushed the Russian disinfo hoax from federal buildings. Not only is your security clearance gone, now you can't walk on the property anymore. Because we'd sure hate for you to try to change someone's mind on what we're doing here. That is how you get rid of the shadow government, the deep state, whatever the mainstream media picks, whatever you want to call it. This is just common sense. Well, we have common sense, but the left, as we start to wrap up just 2 days of information here, America's struggling. Mass media is failing to meet the moment as Trump's authoritarian forces try to demolish our democracy. That's the headline off the NW Progressive. They're just mad that nobody could keep up with them. And of course, they always throw in authoritarian or Nazi somewhere within it. The United States is facing a web of constitutional crises now that a Republican trifecta has descended on the nation's capital. Democracy's future is in doubt, but most national political coverage just doesn't reflect that reality. That's unacceptable. How dare you not do what you used to do? You are not manipulating America well enough anymore. Oh, boo-hoo. So sorry. So let's focus on Punxsutawney Phil. I'm not joking. I'm really not joking here. I know he came out yesterday. He said it was going to be an early spring, but the left, they've decided that that's inappropriate. PETA proposes a weather reveal cake for Groundhog Day in place of Punxsutawney Phil. This is what they're focused on. Everything that's happening right now, they're focused on a shadow. Groundhogs are shy, prey animals who, when allowed, actively avoid humans. Year after year, Phil is transported to Gobbler's Knob, whisked on stage, and subjected to a noisy announcer, screaming crowds, and flashing lights. I could read on, but I think you get the meaning, right? The left has no organization nor ability to figure out how to respond to Trumps that are focused on groundhogs. Literally. It appears the people are definitely not behind Donald J. Trump or Phil for this case. But if that isn't bad enough, with everything we've seen, all the declarations made by Donald J. Trump, we have to go to the Democrat Party to figure out how they're organizing and what they're concerned about. Because if I were them, right, I'd be concerned about how do I stop this? How do I get elected next time? Because we lost all our ground, all our momentum. And what are they concerned about? Well, this just goes to show you everything you need to know about the Democrats. Everything in one simple clip. The DNC, a clip from them. Listen in here and tell me what your thoughts are.
The rules specify that when we have a gender non-binary candidate or officer, The non-binary individual is counted as neither male nor female, and the remaining 6 offices must be gender balanced. With the results of the previous 4 elections, our elected officers are currently 2 male and 2 female. In order to be gender balanced, we must elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender.
Head explode moment. This is wonderful. They're in disarray. They are literally, he can't even read the script himself. It is that difficult. It is that painful to listen to, but in all reality, I love it. I love the disarray of the Democrats right now, because that is what a shock and awe campaign does to you. And all they can fall back on is nonsense. Trump's getting results, and they're spewing nonsense. And we will continue down this track. We're going to have, as you've seen, more and more to cover every day. God bless America. God bless Donald J. Trump. God bless each and every one of you who love the way this nation is now headed. I can't wait to see in your comments. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.